Hello friends and welcome to Meals with Maria. Today I have Dollar Tree meals for you. I'm so excited. I feel like I haven't done Dollar Tree meals in forever. They're so good and it's so fun to do these. And I'm hoping that they also help people who may be in like a food desert area, who, you don't have the option, or you can go to one store and Dollar Tree's it. So these are some really good items and some really good meals that I still try to work with that $1.25 increase. Like, can we still make this worth it? And what can we make out of it? So I did a casserole, which I'm super psyched on. And then I also did a soup. And what we did was took a couple of cans of traditional soup and really beefed them up. So you turn 2 soup cans into like a vat of soup that you can eat off of for a long time. So I'm super excited to show you that, and that just generally that method of cooking where you can take something smaller and then grow off of it and really save some money. And I'm laughing because I'm doing this behind me. I have a Whole Foods order, but I am thinking, just getting you hyped up for the future. We're going to do like a month-long grocery haul in May. So I'll show you everything I bought in April. So that's just a little teaser of what's behind me and what I'm buying. And so enjoy these Dollar Tree meals. I'm hyped up and I hope you are too. So I'm going to start by making a pizza tot casserole. Now, when I saw those tater tots at the Dollar Tree, I was like, oh, I know what I want to make. I want to make this casserole that I've seen the recipe for, and I think we can make it work. Now, the recipe calls for ground beef and Italian sausage. They don't have that at the Dollar Tree, but they do have this pork sausage. So I was like, let's work with that. Then they got 2 of these pepperoni lunch makers, pepperoni pizzas. Now, it has sauce in it has cheese, and it has pepperoni. I did get some extra pizza sauce because I wanted to make sure that it wasn't like a dry casserole. You may be able to get by on what they had. Then those tater tots, and then the big thing that I found was this seasoning blend. I'm gonna have these in both of my meals, and I am so excited about this. I don't know if this is new because it's the $1.25 tree now or whatnot, but that is a deal. You get onions, peppers, green peppers, celery. Those are all the things you need to make a great meal. So even though it's frozen, I don't even care. That is delicious, and I'm gonna stock up on that. Like, I need more of that in my life, in my freezer, that I can just be like, mirepoix, here we go. Now, if you wanna beef this up a little bit more, go ahead and buy a second one of those pork sausage rolls, and I'll tell you, the pork sausage tastes absolutely delicious in this. It is not a problem at all. So the recipe says to add your onions, peppers, celery, all that jam to your pan and your meat, and to cook it all together. Now, the recipe also calls for some fresh garlic, so I'm just using a little bit of garlic powder because there is no garlic in that mixture with the onions and the peppers. Now, you want to cook this until your meat has browned, and then you want to take the grease out of the pan. So this pork sausage did create a lot of grease, so I'm just going to take a paper towel and put it in between 2 tongs and pull out all of the grease and actually all of the extra liquid. Because the vegetables are frozen, it did add a lot of extra liquid to the pan. Now, for this size portion, I'm putting in like 1/4 to 1/2 cup of the pizza sauce, and I'm just using it straight from the jar. But like I said, you could use it from the pizza Lunchable container, or however you want to do it, and just mixing this well. You want to make sure that it's nice and coated, and really this is starting to smell like pizza to me. Like a peppers, onion, sausage pizza. That's what it smells like, and that is what it tastes like. Flavor is on point. I'm also thinking, if you wanted to go a different direction with this, you could buy the dollar store pizza crusts. They have like thin crust pizzas. Put the sauce on the pizza, then put this as a topping because this is delicious, and then get some of their mozzarella cheese and shred it up, and you can make your own sausage, pepper, and onion pizza. Now I'm going to take a pie pan that seemed like the perfect size for this, and then pour my filling into the bottom of the pan. Now I'm gonna put my little mini pepperonis and the cheese from one package of this pepperoni pizza onto the pan here. Now, I feel like I've seen small packages of pepperoni at the Dollar Tree before, so you could go a different route, and instead of buying the little pizza Lunchables, you could grab a package of pepperoni and a package of mozzarella and shred it, and I think you'd be even in better shape. Like, you'd have more pepperoni and more cheese. I just didn't find that this time, so I'm going with what I had, and hey, I got dessert out of this. We had Crunch bars, and they were delicious too. And we have little pieces of bread. You can make some garlic bread out of that to go along with it. So I'm just putting the cheese that I had over here, and then I'm gonna top this with my tater tots. Now, the package isn't huge, so this is the perfect amount of tater tots just for this little pie. But if you wanted to go larger, add more of your pork sausage and maybe find a pack of pepperoni and feed more people, you may want to buy another package of tater tots as well and do more of like a 13 by 9 pan. Then you want to sprinkle the remaining cheese from the second Lunchable right over the top of this. And then you can put your pepperonis right on top there too, and it kind of makes it look pretty. You don't have to do that. You can put them all underneath if you want. I did put mine over top like right away, and then they got a little bit burnt, which is kind of a bummer. The recipe actually says to cook it and then put the pepperonis on at the end and then cook them for a few minutes. So I should have followed that. But I thought I was superior and that I could do things that other people can't, which is not true. So, sometimes you just have to listen to the experts, right? Then you want to bake this at 450 degrees for 30 minutes. You can see some of those pepperonis are a little crispy, but look how good this looks like. It's still bubbling and it smelled like pizza in my house, and I loved it with those tater tots are really good actually. They're like super puffy, they are extra crispy, and they mean it. Like, they're so good. So I had this for lunch and my husband had it for dinner, and it's a winner. We loved it. Recipe is in the description box, so even if you don't make this from Dollar Tree, I recommend you make it for your family because yum. Now this next meal is like an entire style. I was trying to make a soup that is like a ham and bean soup and potato, ham, bean, potato soup, and it's from like one of those Great Depression recipes. And I found the potatoes, I found the seasoning blend. I was like, this is perfect. We're going to use some bouillon, and we're going to get maybe like a luncheon meat and then some beans. Now, the problem was the type of beans that I wanted, they didn't have in the dried beans. And so I was going to buy cans, and I'm like, I don't want to buy $1.25 cans of beans. That's way too expensive at the Dollar Tree. So what I found was these Campbell's Classics, and it had beans and ham already in it. So I'm like, this is great. This is the whole idea. Take your traditional soup and then add to it. And we actually used to do this in college. My best friend and I, we lived together in college, and we had something called poor man's soup. And we would take a can of soup that we had in the pantry, like we'd have like nothing left, a can of corn, and then maybe a can of tomato sauce. And you mix all that together and put some sour cream with it, and that is heaven. And we want to make that now. We're always like, oh, poor man's soup. That was so good. So this is definitely a different soup recipe. We're going to take 2 cans of that ham and bean. We're going to take the hash browns that I found in the freezer section. This is a huge thing of hash browns. Like, I ended up with extra. So not only do you get to make this, but you get extra. And then that seasoning blend that I am obsessed with, that is perfect for starting off on a soup. And then I'm using chicken bouillon that I already have, but you can get chicken bouillon at the Dollar Tree if you don't already have some. And worst comes to worst, use some water and some salt, and that will give you all the flavor that you need. So I am super excited to make this for you, and I think it's going to turn out great. You could always go with the beans and the luncheon meat too, and that would also be a good option. So I am starting off with a little bit of oil in a pan over medium-high heat. I don't think the oil is 100% necessary because these are frozen, so they're kind of in water already. But hey, I added it, I had it. And I'm adding the entire thing of the seasoning blend because this is going to give tons of flavor. It's going to be delicious. And also, can I note, do you guys notice I have a cold again? This is like my 3rd cold in like 2 months. And not a fan, but it is what it is. So I'm basically just defrosting these in the pan and then cooking them up a little bit. You could totally just defrost them in the microwave ahead of time or leave them in the fridge for a little bit so that they already are defrosted and then cook them up. Your choice, however you want to do it. I think that'll be totally fine. And then I'm adding a little bit of garlic powder again because, like I said, this mix doesn't have any garlic in it, and you're definitely going to want some garlic in this soup. Okay, the water from the defrosting, it made it very steamy, but I'm adding about 1/2 to 3/4 of the package of the diced potatoes right now, and those are also not defrosted. So again, you could totally do that in the microwave ahead of time and cook those up or leave them in the fridge, but we're just putting them in frozen, and it's just going to take a little bit longer to cook it this way. It's kind of your choice how you want to do it. The recipe I'm basing this off of has you add 2 cups of water and 3 cups of chicken broth. So I added 3 cups of chicken bouillon and 1 cup of water because we're also going to add in those cans of soup, and those are going to have liquid as well. And then adding in both cans of soup, and we're going to let this simmer for about 15 to 30 minutes. Let everything cook together. Make sure your potatoes are fully cooked through. Make sure all the flavors get cooked up. And that is going to be your soup. And now we took 2 small cans of soup and made them into something so much larger.
You know, had you bought 4 cans of soup for the same price, you would nowhere near have gotten the same amount of soup that we have today. I really hope these recipes gave you some inspiration, whether you're shopping at Dollar Tree or you're shopping at your local grocery store. Both of these recipes are super budget friendly, are delicious, and can definitely feed a family and make you feel like you're making something different and it's not the same stuff always over and over again. You can eat well on a budget. Please make sure to like this video if you love budget meals and subscribe if you haven't already. I'm making meals like this 3 times a week these days, so come and join me. Make sure to hit the subscription button and the notification bell so you don't miss anything, and I'll see you all very soon.